This is Berkshire Grown Artists 2020. We're excited to have a lot of Berkshire Grown artists here at the Stationery Factory. There are 7 artists that are involved. All of them are people who grew up in the Berkshires. So it's really fun to all come together. This came about because a friend of mine, Steve Sears, a friend from high school, ended up buying this stationery factory and renovating it. And so it's an amazing building that has great spaces. I reached out to Steve 2 years ago and said, can I show some of my art in the brew house? And he said, why don't we do a show? So we did a show 2 years ago, and now we're back. I started painting really just 4 years ago. I picked it up and I fell in love. And hundreds of canvases have been produced in the past 4 years, and so I've sold probably about 50 of them, which is pretty cool. So my work tends to be, what you see behind me. When I started painting, I was living in New York City, and I really wanted to focus on having the colors of a beautiful sunset in my house while I lived in the concrete jungle of New York City. So a lot of my palette tends to be, warm colors that you might see in a sunset. I've gradually started playing with a palette knife. So a lot of the paintings you're going to see have very thick strokes, and those are done with a palette knife, which has been really fun. I just kind of continue to explore and move in different directions.
Yeah, my name's O Boyle. I'm showing work here tonight from Antarctica and a few photographs from the Arctic. It's from a project that I've been working on since 2015. I went to 3 different locations in Antarctica. One was McMurdo Station. The second was Palmer Station, which is on the Antarctic Peninsula on the other side of the continent. And then recently to the South Pole. My interest is in architecture, so I went down there to photograph the historic huts. So some of the shots are here tonight are from Scott's hut and Shackleton's hut, from the interiors and exteriors, as well as landscapes around them. Other photographs are landscapes in the general McMurdo Sound area, McMurdo Station area. From other projects I visited, a lot of scientific work is going on there. So I would join science teams in the field for a day or 2 or a week and photograph how they work, photograph the location. The Arctic work was through a Guggenheim Fellowship, which allowed me to take a number of trips to Svalbard and Iceland. That work is a little different because I'm on my own there, organizing my own travel, figuring out where I need to be, and less science, more some of the old cultural sites that are there. There's a lot of remnants from those early ventures up there from the 17th century on. Some of the ruins are still there. I grew up here in Dalton. I know Steve Sears well, who's the owner of the factory. We were in high school together. So Steve has been asking me to come in and show some of my work for a while, and this finally came together for this show. I'm happy to be here to show the work, and it's a great space for showing photography.
Hi, I'm Alexander Bastow. I'm here with a Berkshire Grown Artist in Dalton, Massachusetts at the Stationery Factory 2020. A little bit about my art. I consider myself a American tonalist, which derives a little bit from the Hudson River School. Maybe George Innes, John Francis Murphy you might have heard of. George Innes, there's a big collection up at the Clark Art Institute. I focus mostly on mood and tone. Berkshire County is my canvas, I guess you could say. So I do a little bit of everything everywhere in Berkshire County. Pictures, I do oil landscapes. And hopefully we have a good turnout tonight. And thank you very much, everyone who came. And come check out Berkshire Grown Artists 2020.
My name is Elizabeth Roy Norton. I go by Beth, and I'm thrilled to be here at the Stationery Factory. This is the second time we've done a Berkshire born and bred art show, and it's just a wonderful space to show art. I'm a watercolor painter and an acrylic painter, and I primarily like to paint things that are kind of broken down. I love painting rust and really aged barn board and things that have sort of been abandoned. I've been painting probably at least 30 years, and this is just a wonderful place to show work, and they're very welcoming. My daughter is showing today too. Two of my sisters are here also, Helen Roy and Rosemary Roy. So there's a creative streak in our family that I don't think we ever knew about. Our parents had 8 daughters. They didn't have a lot of spare time, but I think there must have been a little bit of artistic in them and they didn't get a chance to express it. So that's what we do and we love it, and thank you to the Stationery Factory for letting us show.
My name is Rosemary Roy. I am sister number 3 in the show. I do acrylic painting. Started off doing beaches, little sand, little water and sky, and that kept me busy for about 10 years. And just in the past couple of years, I started painting little, almost like comical birds, along with some flowers. So pretty simple stuff. I like to do really small paintings, like 2 by 2, that come with a little easel so you can put it on a windowsill or in a bathroom. I grew up in Dalton on Burr Drive. I love the idea of the Stationery Factory because it's a building, part of the Crane history of the town, and so many people have associations with this building. So it's really cool to see it thriving with a restaurant and musical events, and I feel like it's bringing art to Dalton. Which is just amazing to be a part of.
My name is Sara Fortini. I'm one of the artists in the Berkshire Grown Artists Show. I lived in Dalton for a few years, but now I live in Brooklyn, New York. But I'm very happy to be back in this space. I absolutely love the Stationery Factory and everything that Steve has done here. My art is abstract embroidery. When I was here for a show 2 years ago, I actually exhibited some work that was figure painting, but I've since changed the work that I do. I actually went to a party about a year ago and someone there taught us the basics of embroidery, and then I found all of these really amazing female artists who were doing this incredible embroidery work on Instagram, and were really elevating it beyond craft. And so I'm very inspired by them. I'm inspired by nature and biology, and I'm really enjoying it.
My name is Rachel Sawyer. I'm an artist living in Dalton, Mass. I just want to thank Steve and the Stationery Factory for having us here, and Helen for recruiting me as part of one of the Berkshire artists. My work's here on the wall. I like to think of it as when you're a kid growing up and your parents are like, oh, go play outside. So it's kind of an ode to my childhood, playing outside, using your imagination, finding cool rocks, looking for worms, kind of a look back on my childhood. So thank you for coming.